I have with us right now, I believe, Father Donald Calloway joining me on the line. Are you with me, Father?
Yeah, I'm here. Great to be with you.
I'm so thankful for you being on here. On my blog, for those of you who are listening, you can check out on bracingyourgreatness.blogspot.com who Father Calloway is if you're not familiar with him. Father, rather than me waste this precious time on the air telling people who you are, my kind of style is I want you to introduce yourself to my audience, share with them your conversion story. So if you would kind of start with your conversion story, that would be awesome.
Sure. Well, obviously, I'm a Catholic priest now, but that's about the furthest thing I had on my mind when I was a teenager. I grew up in a very secular home, and was in and out of many different marriages. My mother got married 3 times, and not growing up with any real moral system. I mean, I got involved in drugs when I was like 11, and found myself living in Japan because my third father was a military officer, and I got into a real rebellion over there. Ended up running with the mafia over there when I was 15, and got kicked out of the country, and then came back to the States and ended up in 2 drug rehabs. Was thrown in jail when I was 18, and I ended up following the old hippie band called the Grateful Dead. Had long hair down on my waist, tattoo and all that. And during the whole process, my family actually had a huge conversion to Catholicism. And then when I was going on 21 years old, after basically being at my rope's end in life, I read a book that my parents had on their bookshelf about Our Lady, and it totally changed my life and sent me on the path of becoming Catholic. And then eventually I discerned a vocation to become a priest. And I just celebrated being a priest 8 years yesterday, by the grace of God, for sure.
What? Well, congratulations on your 8 years, and I want to just tell you that it gives me so much hope to hear that someone that wasn't even baptized until you were 10 years of age, that did not have that grace, that was living such a tumultuous life. That isn't it a mercy and just a testament to how God never stops seeking us and finding a language that we can receive to bring us home to Him?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, even when I was baptized when I was 10 in the Episcopalian church, but we never went to church after that again. And yet, the God that I didn't know, because I didn't even really believe in God as a teenager, the God that I didn't know was in control and in charge and had a plan, and it was going to work itself out. And sure enough, it did. It took about 10 years from when I was baptized, but God's in control. God knows what He's doing.
That's for sure. As I was listening to your Lighthouse Catholic Media CD, I was just struck by the fact that you were growing up, living in Southern California before you guys had moved to Japan, and that you were very much enamored with hanging out, partying, womanizing, listening to great rock music. And then when you were required to go to Japan, I think your mother joined the military, isn't that right?
She had joined before that.
Okay.
But when she got out of the Navy, she married my stepfather, who was a military officer, and that's how we went over to Japan.
And so when you went to Japan, you were like very angry at being kind of like shuffled around and here's the third marriage, and you wanted nothing to do with family life. And at that point, you didn't really care about who your mother was. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was in a really weird stage of being a teenager and just being kind of upset about everything and angered. And, with the military, you move like every 2 to 3 years, if not more. And I had no stability and no foundation about what life was about. So taking me from, sunny San Diego to Japan was like a total life-changing thing for me, and I freaked out. I lost it.
So when you went to Japan, you ran away at your first opportunity, isn't that right? Kind of were living off the streets.
Yeah, I mean, initially, obviously, I had to stick around the house because it's totally foreign to me. But then after a period of time, yeah, I left, and I was just kind of wandering around and, hooking up with people and doing crazy things, and eventually got involved with a criminal organization where I was able to get unbelievable amounts of money by doing stuff for them.
So the attraction to possibly being a part of the Japanese mafia was the money.
Oh yeah, the money and the girls, you bet.
So, being that now that they say hindsight's 2020, but I'm guessing for a priest, you must have some beautiful and terrific insight into what would motivate a young person to numb themselves with drugs, alcohol, and sex. I mean, can you share some of that? Because there's a lot of people right now that are hurting because their kids, their sons, maybe, are doing exactly that. There might be wives listening whose husbands have issues with addiction. We are a hurting people, and a lot of people choose to use all kinds of things, not just alcohol. It can be food. It could be shopping. I mean, we are an addiction society, and it sounds like you have some terrific insight in this area.
Well, I think what it comes down to basically is that everybody's looking to be happy. Um, and it's just that a lot of people out there, and myself, included back in the day, were searching for happiness and fulfillment and that which felt good. In a godless society, most people think that which feels good is the ultimate good. So you do what feels good, and so you get high, you drink, you have sex, you spend hours and hours in front of the internet looking at pornography because it feels good. That's the problem that we're in right now. Is God, is been kicked out of our society and our culture in large part. The education system, the workplace, the family, the home, and all that. And so people are searching for happiness, but they're just looking for it in the wrong way.
Mm.
And that's why I did all the crazy things I did. That's why I chased all the beautiful girls. That's why I did all the drugs. Was I wanted happiness. I wanted to be happy, and yet obviously I was looking in the wrong place.
I think we also see this tendency to want to numb ourselves too, because life can be very painful. I mean, I remember a spiritual director said to me once, did you think Jesus came so he could share the truth of the gospel and the good news? And I was like, yes. And he said, no, he came to suffer and to die for us. Do you think that you're any better than the master? And I thought to myself, I think a lot of us, me included, have a hard time bearing our sufferings, maybe. Like Charlie Sheen. I'm guessing that you've probably paid particular attention to Charlie Sheen's, what's going on in his life right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched TV, so I see what's going on and how he's falling apart and stuff, and it's the same thing. I mean, the dude is chasing around pretty girls and got tons of money, and he's using different things, and whatnot, because there's God in his life. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a huge issue. I pray for him. I pray that he, is able to get kind of a divine 2x4 across the face and realize it's God, actually, that he's looking for. I just pray that, him and other people come to realize that.
What was your divine 2x4?
Well, gosh, primarily was one thing, and that was the book on the Virgin Mary that my parents had on their bookshelf. That really knocked me out spiritually, and it was a huge wake up for me. And it's interesting to me the way that it happened, because see, most of the things that I did because I wanted to be happy and I wanted fulfillment. And so I was getting high and all those kind of crazy things and doing all the crazy criminal things to be kind of attracted to or to get the attention of girls. And so when God came into my life, in retrospect, I can see now what he did. He baited me, so to speak, with the most beautiful feminine masterpiece that ever was and ever will be. He introduced himself to me first through Mary.
So I'm hearing that you're saying that it's really important that priests have a relationship with Mary if they're going to be in the priesthood. Am I hearing you right on that?
Oh, totally. I mean, how would you be able to do it without her? I mean, I was just in an priestly ordination last weekend, and during the homily, the bishop said, you can become a priest without praying the rosary, but you can't become a good priest without praying the rosary. And, I mean, and he's right. The dude is right on, because, I mean, how can you, this is a war. I mean, we're in spiritual battle. No man goes out there and fights for an institution. He goes out there and fights for his beauty that's being attacked.
Mm.
And so if a priest doesn't have that beauty before his eyes, which is primarily the Virgin Mary, and then all the souls that he's trying to replicate to be like her, to be without sin, holy, spotless, without blemish, and immaculate, try to transform them into being that pattern to be pleasing to Jesus, if he doesn't have that before his eyes, then what the heck is he doing?
Mm.
You know? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. And that's the priesthood according to the pattern of Christ, is to want to have every soul you come in contact with become like her, to basically echo her fiat, be it done unto me too. Because there's no greater disciples, there's no greater model or pattern or blueprint of what it means to be a Christian and be pleasing to Christ than to be like Our Lady. Mm. And if a priest doesn't have that pattern before him, then what's the pattern he's got? What's his understanding of the priesthood? What's his understanding of the church? What's his understanding of what's he doing with souls? You know, without her, I just don't know how you do it, or why you do it.
I think it's awesome that that we have both the masculine and feminine fiat. You know, you have Our Lady saying, she's saying, be it done unto me according to your word, and you have Jesus saying, not my wills but yours be done. We have the new Eve and the new Adam giving their perfect yes. And it's so great to see that. And I heard a little bit of Wild at Heart in some things you said there. So we have to go to break. But when we get back, I want to talk some more about exactly what you were saying with that men are enamored and need to have that beauty to fight for. So join us back here with Father Donald Calloway, where we're speaking about conversion and mercy of God and the priesthood for the Holy Father's intentions for June. Join me back here.